Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. We are so excited to have you. Kendall Valenzuela, Amanda, aka Cooterdoodle is how you all know her. We are back again. And Amanda, I intentionally did not have a name said. I could have said the Fantasy Life Show with Kendall and Amanda. We still have no name. I think we got some pretty good okay examples of the things that could be our show name, and some were just I'm sorry everyone listening, some of them were bad, but we're still working on that. The show with no name with Kendall and Amanda, that's I guess what we get to have right now.
Just dig deep, guys. We know you got it in there. We're gonna let you do the work for us. Thank you very much. We'll read the comments this week.
Read the comments. So leave a comment of what you think this show should be named, or else it's just going to continue being, what do we call it? Unnamed show
Untitled.
with Kendall and Amanda. Yeah, the Amanda and Kendall show. I feel like that's not bad either. It is on us though, because I have not put any thought into this show name, and I really am hoping that people in the comments and people listening are going to have a show name, which is probably not the best way to go about this, but it's the off season, Amanda, so we can ask them for a little bit of help.
Right. And plus Shakespeare said something about it. You don't need names, right? It's all the same as long as we're putting our energy into the content.
There we go. I like that. Wow, quoting Shakespeare already? Is that what we're going to do today? Wow, you're on your A game. So I need to get ready here. Oh my gosh. All right. How are you doing? How's everything going so far?
Doing good. Prepping up for Mardi Gras. I know I might be kind of a loner here. You're out in California, but getting ready for Mardi Gras and ready to see Malik Neighbors in a parade on Saturday. So that'll be fun.
Jealous. That has to be because you've lived there your whole life. So that's totally something that you're accustomed to. Like, people fly from all over the world to go to attend Mardi Gras, and you're like, yeah, I've done it every single year since I was born. That has to be such a fun experience. I'm very jealous too.
Yep. I'll send you pictures, Yeah, I'll keep you locked in.
Go get a Malik Neighbors autograph. Maybe you'll see Rashid Shaheed. I mean, like, out and about for Mardi Gras. I don't know. You never know. You could bring him another jersey. I don't know. I don't know. We're gonna leave the door open. BFFs. All right. Well, as always, appreciate everyone hanging out with us here today. We've got 4 quarters and an overtime. Just like the last time, we're not going to change that up. Each quarter around 10, 11 minutes, and you will hear a stopwatch that gets us a little freaked out. So if you hear us start to get a little bit anxious, that is why we're trying to keep it under time. So let's get into it, Amanda, with Did You Hear? So I got to start this one off because did you hear? This is where we're going to go. Green Bay wants to ban the tush push. Now, when I hear this, Amanda, I think to myself, it sounds like a little bit of jealousy to me. I'm curious what you think on this one.
I'm actually torn. My initial reaction was they've got to be jealous because the guys in my league that try to ban fab, it's because they ran out of fab and they don't like the rule, right? And so I was on the fence of jealousy, and I started looking into it. So I got a couple facts for you, Kendall.
Okay.
Green Bay finished the regular season 11-6, and only one of those losses was to the Eagles, right? So why would they be salty there? The Eagles only ran the tush push once against them in the playoffs. So you would think they wouldn't be salty. And Green Bay ran the tush push on their own. So there's two sides of this story. Are they trying to stop it, or is it possible that they aren't that salty and they do have feelings where I think they allegedly said maybe it's not safe for players? I don't know if I buy it, but I could at least give them benefit of the doubt that they don't have that much going against them to be bitter about. Would you agree?
Okay. All right, then that makes it a little bit better, because when I first read it, I was like, it feels like it happens every single year. Now the Eagles have won, coming off a Super Bowl win, so all the teams are going to be like, yeah, let's ban it. And to me, when I look at it, I say it's because we've seen teams try to do it, and some teams are successful, but they're not as successful, right, as the Philadelphia Eagles doing it. Last season, 4th best 4th down conversion rate in the NFL, 74.4%, and then they finished tied for 2nd in the NFL with 29 rushing touchdowns. And I want to say that's thanks to, they of course had Saquon Barkley, but that's thanks in part to that play as well. So Hurts led the NFL, 14 rushing touchdowns, 13 of those coming in goal-to-go situations. That was according to True Media. So I'm going to stick with it, Amanda, and say that teams are just a little bit jealous. And until that they can get that move down, they're going to say, well, we should ban it. But if it is for player safety, then I might pull back a little bit. But I don't think that's it. I think they just have no way to stop it, and they're getting annoyed with it.
Well, see, and so again, devil's advocate, I was trying to see both sides, but then it came out, I think on Tuesday, the general manager of Green Bay had said that, I know we're not successful against it. I know that. And so I'm like, okay, so maybe they are a little salty. And then Green Bay's president, Mark Murphy, said that it's bad for the game because there's no skill involved. And that's where I draw the line. I don't see how you can say there's no skill involved whenever the Bills and the Eagles have been using the tush push more than any other team in the NFL in the last 3 seasons. I think those two teams have done it 163 times, and they have done it more successfully than the rest of the NFL. So I don't think you can say that there's no skill involved, because then why isn't everyone successful with it? So that's where I start to lean. Right.
Yes.
That's where I'm saying, okay. And look, Green Bay, green, we know what the color of jealousy is, right? So it fits perfectly.
Exactly. If it was a skill that everyone, like, there's no skill involved, all right, well then why don't you go out there and try and do it? Let's just see that happen here. So if it was for player safety, I think that's a different conversation. But for me, when I look at it, Green Bay's just a little bit jealous, and that's okay. So what would you ban if we could ban things in our leagues? Let's make it our home leagues. What would you ban? Because for me, Amanda, I would just ban complaining. I'm done. I'm done with the complaining. I can't do it anymore because I'm the commissioner in one of them, and I love you all, and I know that some of you are listening, and I'm just got to say, quit put it in a note card, and just let's talk about it at the end. How can we complain when we go through every single year? We say, here are the rules. Here's what could happen. Do we want to change anything? Amanda, I'm done. Let's ban complaining in your fantasy football leagues about the rules.
You've got my vote. I'm locked in. You don't even have to submit the proposal. I'm locked in. But to add to that, my biggest, and look, I'm so sorry if this attacks anyone that's listening right now, but I cannot handle people that don't talk trash until after they've won. Like when the games are over, it's Monday night, it's the final whistle, and then they come into the group chat after being silent Thursday through Sunday. That's what I would love to ban. If you want to talk trash, you have to do it all week long before you know that you've won.
Like, come on, just man up about it, right? And just say, hey, like, let's just take it. If you can't dish it, then you can't take it. Then it's totally different. I agree with that. So trash talk throughout the whole week. I support that. Easily. You've got my vote. No, you've got my vote. That's an easy one. I love it.
No. Now look, unless you want to keep talking about tushes and pushes, I have to say, did you hear that Ashton Jeanty, he's actually not going to be running at the combine? The guy who everyone wants to see run is not going to. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm all 100% good with it. I'm good with it. I'd actually talked to Thor Nystrom, and if anyone's not following Thor right now, he's boots on the ground at the combine in Indianapolis. So everyone needs to go give him a follow at Thor KU. He's there with our producer, Matt Swing. But I went back and forth on this because sometimes, people want to make this a story, and they want to make the same thing a story with the quarterbacks. So we can talk about Cam Ward's not going to do some drills there, and same with Shedeur Sanders. But I just think this is not a story, in my opinion, Amanda. And I know people want to make it that way, but I just, there's not much more that he can prove about himself. You can go and turn on the tape and all this stuff, but he has a lot more to lose by getting hurt at the combine than anything else. And I think it's the same with the quarterback. So, I'm looking at it. He's run the ball nearly 600 times in the last 2 seasons and is so productive for that offense, was so productive for that offense for Boise State. So to me, I think it's a non-story. I think people just, want to get a little bit, if they want to get mad about it, they can. But I think it's the same thing for the quarterbacks, Amanda. It's just, you know what you're going to get with some of them. And they're still going to do, the interviews and go through some of the testing as well. But just to me, I'm okay with it. You don't have to do it, Ashton. Don't let the pressure,
don't let him pressure you.
Public pressure. And look,
he's still doing the medical evaluations and the team interviews too. So it's not like he's fully just taking himself out of the situation. But I do feel like this year especially might be a turn where we kind of see this shift in narrative or in the consistency of which players are going to do it. Is it going to turn the tides where they're going to try to incentivize players? Is it going to change things where, we might see some of the guys that are lower ranked or that they're not expecting kind of fly through in the storylines because now they have more eyes on them. So that's what I'm more curious about, just as an observer, is how that changes the overall narrative of the combine, right?
Yeah, and I think too the other thing that, in doing all this reading and all the research for the combine coming up is that, there we've seen it for the quarterbacks too, which is why I want to say you don't have to be super over the top about it. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, they all didn't throw in Indianapolis last season. So for me, it's nothing groundbreaking. And I think, Amanda, too, that just brings up, let's stick on the quarterbacks. That brings up other quarterbacks, and they could say, well, this is my time to shine now. We know that Cam Ward isn't going to be out there. We know that Shedeur Sanders isn't going to be out there. So maybe a Jalen Milroe, that's someone whose stock dropped significantly when he was at the Senior Bowl. Like it just wasn't good. When you look at it, he had accuracy issues. He had timing issues, wasn't able to make decisions in a good, timely manner. So there were a lot of things that went wrong. But now that you have, not as many eyes on Shedeur Sanders, on Cam Ward, they could really step up and say, all right, well, this is my time. I can make my presence known. Not just him, Jackson Dart. You've got Will Howard. You've got Quinn Ewers. So Jalen Milroe, definitely, he was someone in our latest podcast that we talked about saying he has a lot to make up for. And so this could be the week to do it. But same with these running backs too. Ashton Jeanty not going to be doing some of the drills, so maybe they can step up as well.
Yeah, and I kind of like that. It's almost like a bye week built into the combine. These elite guys, they have a little break. They've proven themselves. Let the other guys step up and have a chance, right? And I do think there's kind of like an added benefit for us as fantasy players, because maybe these elite guys, because they're not having their time shown and all this stuff, we can sneak in just a little later ADP, before it starts to really spike after the draft. Maybe I'm selfish there.
We're selfish for sure, and sickos talking about drafts in February, but that's okay. That's what we're here for. So we'll get a little bit of an extra taste from them. All right. Did you hear that Matthew Stafford may not want to go anywhere after all? This is just, I always put it back to the Office meme where it's like snip, snap, snip, snap. It's Michael Scott having to go back and forth. And you're like, what do you want from them? And so the latest that I saw from the Los Angeles Rams, they said the quote, first goal is to have Matthew Stafford remain the team's starting quarterback. Franchise is trying to balance short-term and long-term roster decisions by letting the quarterback gauge his value. So I think you and I talked about this just a little bit, but that was what I ultimately thought, Amanda, was, okay, they're going to go let him talk to other teams just to see what kind of value, to see what the market is for him right now. So I want to know your thoughts on Matthew Stafford now, probably looking like he's going to stay a Ram. I don't know. I'm confused.
Look, I'm confused too, but I'm thinking the Rams are kind of playing a dangerous game, like a FAFO situation, right? They're going to find out, because now we have rumors of Tom Brady accidentally meeting him at a ski resort. Who knows, right? And we have the Giants that seem to be interested. I think recently, within the last 24 hours, it came out that the Giants are hell-bent on acquiring him, that the interest is real. And so I don't know, is it going to pan out for the Rams here if we find out that there's these teams that are really interested in Stafford and willing to pay up for it and make it happen? That's where I would get nervous. And that makes me a little nervous for Puka, because as much as you get excited, you hear, okay, he might go to the Giants. Great for Malik Neighbors, right? Might go to the Raiders. Oh my God, could you imagine Brock Bowers? So that's where I start to get nervous of Puka if Stafford's not there. But I don't know. I think the Rams might have, played chicken here.
Open the door and just say, well, wait, we don't. I only think they have, Jimmy G is even a free agent. So they really don't have any backup options where they say, oh, Stafford's on the move. We can go to our quarterback room. Like that's something we don't need. He's got 2 years left on his contract. They agreed to that in 2022. So $4 million guaranteed 2025, nothing in 2026. But I want to believe that Stafford's going to come back. He's 37 years old. He's going to play no matter what. That's what he told everyone, Amanda, he was like, well, I'm going to play in 2025. So I think it's going to be with the Rams. Do you have a guess? Do you think he's going to be somewhere else?
I don't know. I'll be honest. I really don't know, but I will say, I don't know if the facts have come out from this, but I don't think bros just run into each other at a ski resort in Montana. Okay. I think that was planned.
Did you see the beef going on? And we heard the buzzer. We know we're moving on. But did you see the reporter beef between Ian Rappaport and I think it was Jordan Schultz? That was kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think they were just sleepy, right? They hadn't had their coffee yet.
They had to have been. We're at a Starbucks. They said, we need to go back and forth on this drama. It's just like
drama.
Oh, they should make a TV show for him. I think that's what would be the most fun.
But you know what? Speaking of drama, Kendall, do you want to talk about breakups?
Sure, why not? Let's do it. Let's do it. Go ahead. We're happily married, by the way, so it's not us.
No, not us. Just us and our fantasy players, right? We're going to move into the second quarter where we're going to talk about, do we think these guys are ready for a potential breakout in 2025? Or are we just ready to break up with them? And we have 3 on the roster here. I'm ready to talk about Marvin Harrison Jr. I want to see, are you ready to break up, or is he going to have this big breakout?
I am not. I'm going to be totally honest, and this is going to segue into something that we're going to talk about later. I can't break up with Marvin Harrison Jr. I can't do it yet. Now, listen, everyone knows, and I made it very clear last season, I drafted so much Marvin Harrison Jr. I drafted so much Kyler Murray. I was getting Marvin Harrison Jr. on the 1-2 turn. I was like, I want any piece I can of Marvin Harrison Jr. for fantasy football 2024. And we all know how that worked out. It was horrible, Amanda. It wasn't even, it was worse than horrible. Like when you look at everything that he was able to do, finish the year as wide receiver 30 in PPR formats, but it was a lot worse than that. Like there were some weeks where you're just like, okay, this is finally going to be it. The connection with Kyler Murray's going to come back, but it was just up and down. They could not string 2-3 really good games together. And it was just brutal because of his ADP and where I was taking him, it was tough to bench him in these games because there was always in the back of my mind this thing of saying, well, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. But 11.7 points per game, that ranked 42nd overall. It was just, overall, it was horrible. And I really want to believe, though, that the Arizona Cardinals are going to look at 2025 and say, we have to maximize on this investment. He still has the talent. He still has the profile that fits everything where he can just be this fantasy superstar. So it's very toxic, Amanda, but I am going to go back. I'm not going to break up with Marvin Harrison Jr. because now also you're going to have the ADP discount, or probably where he should have been going anyway last year, but we don't have to talk about that. But he's going to be going later, so you won't have to, take him at the 1-2 turn second round or anything like that. So I'm going to go back to him. But what are you doing? Are you breaking up with him, or you think he's going to break out?
I'm kind of on the same line as you, where I'm like, he's that toxic ex, but we've seen what he can do. He can be a great guy. I brought him home to the parents once and he looked great. We've had some bad weeks. And I think it comes down to, it's like the hot and cold of it all. You kind of nailed it. Like, what week are we going to get out of him? And I looked at kind of some of the stats here, and it's crazy to think he doesn't need that many catches to be great. But he had these weeks where he'd have 8 targets, 6 targets, 8 targets, and he'd only have 39 yards, 30 yards, 21 yards, 36 yards. That's what you're thinking of when you're like, do I break up with this guy? You're calling your friends and you're like, hey, he's not treating me well. What do I do, right? But then the next week, he'll have 4 catches for 111 yards, right? Or 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. And so I'm with you. I'm not ready to break up, mainly because we saw what he can do. It didn't take much. He just needed the connection. And so I'll give it another year. Good. Let him tighten up and see what can happen.
I'm with you. And I looked, his stats from his dad, Harrison Sr. when he was playing for his rookie season. Like, people have pointed this out, but the numbers are a lot, like, very similar, eerily similar. And we kind of know the career that he had as well. But he had 64 catches, 836 yards, 8 touchdowns, 195.1 fantasy points. That was Harrison Sr. So I'm just going back to it because, again, the talent, Amanda, I can't look at him and say, well, there's no talent, like it's obviously not going to be there. I think it's more on Kyler Murray's side that has to get better in that relationship. I don't know what it was. Is it breakfast? I think that's what the Rams did with Puka Nacua. They were getting breakfast. There was a book club. I think it was Green Bay that had the book club. Whatever these two need to do, I don't know if it's playing video games together or whatever.
They need to have a LAN party.
The connection needs to get
do Mario Kart. Just get a room. Put a big TV on, split screen like we used to do in the old days, and just play some Mario Kart, some Call of Duty.
I love that. They need to do something. It needs to happen like almost immediately. All right, breakout or break up. I'm going to throw you this one back and forth on him, and I want to know how you drafted him last year as well. But it is Keon Coleman for the Buffalo Bills. I know they just gave a new contract to not Amari Cooper. Why am I forgetting his name? But Khalil Shakir. Yeah, thank you. So, he's going to still be there, but Keon Coleman, breakout or break up for 2025?
This one was the hardest one for me. And I'm kind of like you, where I can almost look at the tea leaves and I see both sides of it where, okay, people soured on Coleman after his injury, but he's going to have the offseason to heal up, right? So is it that we're just kind of basing it off of the bad comeback from that injury? But at the same time, his ADP is not terrible now because of all that. So I'm leaning towards, okay, maybe don't break up with him. But then the Bills absolutely scare me because once we saw Stephon Diggs leave, we saw that they don't really need a wide receiver to be the heavy hitter for them, with Josh Allen scoring 6 touchdowns a game or James Cook running in there, and they spread the ball so well. So then I lean towards breakup, right? So do you want the guy on a great offense that could be healthy this year, or are you done with him? And I got to say, I think I'm breaking up. I really do. Ooh. I just don't feel good about it. I think I'm breaking up.
Did you draft him a lot last season? Were you on the Keon Coleman rookie train or no?
I wasn't. And so maybe I'm tainted. I wasn't hurt by him because I didn't draft him a ton, but it makes me nervous. And I think that Josh Allen doesn't need him as much as he needs Josh Allen.
I'm with you. I think I'm breaking up, but I'm in the same exact situation as you, where last season I didn't take a ton of Keon Coleman. If I did, it was more in the best ball formats. I know I didn't have him in any redraft. So, the way I look at his path to being better is that you have Matt Collins, who's 31 years old. You have Amari Cooper, who is 30 years old. They're both going to be free agents. So they both could potentially be on the move. Amari Cooper was barely there anyway, so he didn't really have much of an impact. But, Keon Coleman did flash some of that potential that we like to see. And so he brought in like 50.9% of his 57 targets. And it was one where, it wasn't very good at all times. And like you said, he got injured. So now you're going to have a full off season to be able to get healthy. But if he has an expanded role, like let's say those two leave, he has an expanded role. Khalil Shakir is obviously going to be there for that team, but you have an expanded role. Then I could see him potentially getting a little bit more production. But to me, Amanda, that's not enough. I can't go out and draft him this season, or I will try to actively avoid drafting him, I think is the nicer way to put it. If I end up on a team with him at some point, maybe just a couple best ball teams, but that's probably as far as I'm going to go with it.
Yeah. And then look, as you're talking, I'm like, maybe I don't want to break up yet because it's such a good offense. And who knows, like if he does step into that role. So yeah, I don't know, but I'm much more confident with Marvin Harrison Jr. than I am with Keon Coleman, even though the ADP is so much lower for Coleman that it's not as much of a risk. I'm going to stick to my guns here. I'm going to break up. I got to stick to my guns.
So he's going pick 115 on Underdog right now. So names around him, just to give it to you: Keenan Allen, Tucker Kraft, Travis Kelce, Marvin Mims, Rashad Bateman, Stephon Diggs. Like those are the names around him. Are you sticking with the breakup? Like if you had to pick between Marvin Mims, Rashad Bateman, Stephon Diggs, would you go all three of those guys ahead of Keon Coleman?
You know what? In this hypothetical scenario, I waited really late on tight end and I'm going Kraft. That's what I'm doing.
Oh, so yeah, I like that. Maybe Travis, Travis is back too. So maybe we're going to see a little, he's back, baby. Maybe we're going to see a little bit more Travis Kelce. All right. Should we do this one together? Breakout, break up. I want to know Ricky Pearsall for you. Is he a breakout now that it looks like Deebo Samuel is not going to be with the 49ers next year?
This is the easiest one for me. I'm absolutely not breaking up with Ricky Pearsall. I am sticking to my guns here. He's going to have a breakout, and here's why. I think we talked about this last show, but Brandon Ayuk's coming off of an ACL injury, and even I think in the last 24 hours that it was announced the 49ers are listening to trade offers for Ayuk. I don't know how serious that is at this point of us recording this, but now you've got Deebo that may not be returning. You have the at least injured Ayuk coming off of injury, potentially listening to trade offers for him. So is Pearsall going to skyrocket? I want in on this before the breakout.
Oh, I like it. He had what 31 receptions, 400 yards, 3 touchdowns last season. So it was a solid showing, and I might be agreeing with you actually for Ricky Pearsall. It depends on the price, because I could see, Amanda, people really jumping on his ADP and making him a little bit more expensive, because I'm looking at it the same way. If Deebo Samuel's out of the picture, Brandon Ayuk, his injury was really bad last season, and so it could be slower for his start to the 2025 season. I haven't looked at, where he's at in his rehab, but you lose Deebo Samuel, you have a banged up Brandon Ayuk coming into the season, and there is obviously a path for Ricky Pearsall to be a full-time starter. So I don't know, with what we saw last season, there's also, there's other players that are obviously going to be involved, George Kittle being one of them, but I think I'm going to be with you on this one with Ricky Pearsall, as long as he doesn't get too expensive. If he gets too expensive, I might have to be out, because there might be other wide receivers in that range that I like.
I think what we're learning here is all of our home leagues, we need to have a February draft. We just need to have 2 home leagues. One's in February, one's in August. That way we can get a piece of everybody when, different times.
I love it. No, let's do it. Yeah. Ricky Pearsall. I hear it. We hear it. We're wrapping it up just like at the Oscars. We're wrapping it up. Ricky Pearsall right now going around pick 82, which is, Jawan Jennings, Brandon Ayuk are going around pick 74, 75. So they are right there. Jalen McMillan, Khalil Shakir, Jacoby Myers, Ricky Pearsall. I like that range right now.
I love that range. Lock it in. All guys, right. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. Keep him there. Keep him right there.
Just don't tell anyone our secret about drafting Ricky Pearsall. Please leave him right there. All right, before we continue on, we're doing State of the Team for the Chargers, but let's hear from our friends over at Bud Light first.
Hey, you're not actually allowed to drink in a beer commercial?
Since when?
You gotta wait till it's done. Oh.
5,
4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, Amanda, State of the Team going through the Los Angeles Chargers. And as everyone probably knows by now, Ian Hartitz has done such a great job with these team needs for 2025. So I want to shout those out as well. You guys can find them all at fantasylife.com, 100% free over there. What was your just initial thoughts on the Chargers 2024 campaign? Because I will say, and I had to hold my hand up very high doing this and taking this L, I was on record and I didn't want any part of the Chargers for fantasy football. Now, some of that, if we look at J.K. Dobbins and we look at the running back room, I kind of still hold true to that. But Ladd McConkey, I only had in one place in redraft. And I think, for me, Amanda, when I look at the Chargers, they were a year, maybe 2 years ahead of schedule from their performance last season. I didn't think we would see that for another couple years. So what they were able to do last year was really impressive for me, and I was admittedly out on them. So where were you with them in 2024?
They kind of were that team that I just forgot about. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but there weren't these big storylines. I wasn't drafting a ton of players from the team. Quentin Johnston had kind of burned me the year before, right? So it was just this idea of, I wasn't thinking about them a ton, but they didn't have a terrible season. They were 11-6. And if you remember, Herbert had this early season high sprain that he dealt with, his ankle issues, right? And they still managed to look really good. But what I find the most convincing, and I know this is just a narrative, but for me, it's a big deal. Jim Harbaugh has talked really highly of Justin Herbert this offseason. I think this just came out where he said, quote, "I would follow him to hell and back. I've never been around a competitor quite like him. Some great ones, but no doubt in my mind that Justin Herbert is not only one of the greatest quarterbacks in the NFL today, but truly one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time." That is what I love to hear. That gets me fired up.
I like okay, so we're following him everywhere. I'm not surprised, because he always has those crazy quotes that I'm just okay, yeah, this makes sense. But I will say I'm with you. So Justin Herbert right now going, and this is underdog, so you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. He's going around pick 113, right? So for me, that's around Jordan Love, Brock Purdy, Caleb Williams, Kyler Murray range. Guys behind him, Drake May, Dak Prescott, C.J. Stroud, Trevor Lawrence. So listen, I can't go into 2025 though and think that I'm going to treat this Chargers team the same way that I did last year. I can't be out on them, because they proved, Justin Herbert proved, Ladd McConkey proved that you might want a piece of them in fantasy football. And I think that's the other part of me too, is how they're going to address some of these team needs, that the offensive line needs fixing. And honestly, when we look, Amanda, at the weapons too, you have to get some help in there for Justin Herbert. And listen, Ladd McConkey had such an amazing rookie season, and he's going to be drafted drafted as a top wide receiver, but I can see them going out and getting a little bit more help, because no offense to Quentin Johnston, we tried to love you and we couldn't, because you just dropped everything that came your way, and Josh Palmer's fine, but doesn't it feel like they need a little bit more there for Justin Herbert?
Yeah, but I do agree. They absolutely do, all the points that you made. But there's something refreshing about hearing how well the organization, all the players, they just seem like they're on the same page. And look, I come from the Saints, where we've seen Olave talk badly about his quarterback. I'm coming from a broken family, right? But when I see things like this, Harbaugh talking up Justin Herbert, Ladd McConkey talking up Justin Herbert, Herbert talking up Ladd McConkey, it just feels good. It feels right. And then I know that these grades came out for the NFL teams. The Chargers jumped from 30th last year to 5th this year. So I feel like, if anything, there's this momentum behind this entire offense. So yeah, they just need to sprinkle in a few, maybe some offensive linemen, maybe a running back, right? Maybe get a few more weapons, but I'm feeling good about the Chargers in 2025.
All right. So Justin Herbert, super flex rankings are going to be different, but is that, or in one QB leagues, are you willing to wait and say, I mean, because you could get some insane value if you're looking at Justin Herbert. Like I said, I think he's going around QB 14, 13 on Underdog. And again, take that with a little bit of a grain of salt, because that's just a different kind of format there. But one QB leagues, are you going to wait and take are you comfortable taking Justin Herbert as your one quarterback? Or is it more super flex where you'll say, all right, well, I'll get a piece of Justin Herbert there?
You know what? He's healthy this season. He did great last season with the injury. So I'd be okay with it. Especially, you said he's going around Kyler Murray. I know we'll talk about him in a bit, but I would take Herbert over Murray. So that's where I am there. Especially when you have Ladd McConkey. I mean, I don't know if you realize, but he's been setting Chargers rookie records. Like the rookie record for receptions, he had 82 this season. Rookie record on the Chargers for yards with 1,149. And he had the 10th most total yards in the NFL. So for the 31st overall draft pick in 2024, it was not too shabby, especially when he had a quarterback that wasn't doing too well. Like, he was hurt, on the down low.
Yeah. Yeah, so I do I need to listen. I had to apologize to Ladd McConkey. Not that I wasn't, I was not necessarily fading him, but I was taking, you heard me, I was taking, Marvin Harrison Jr. at the 1-2 turn. I was focused on other rookies when the answer was right in front of us. And it was Ladd McConkey. Supporting, let me tell you this though, Chargers rank in supporting cast rating. This is from Ian Hartitz. So 2024, they ranked 22nd, 2023, 29th, 2022, 28th. 2021 was the best year and they were 15th. And then 2020, they ranked dead last, 32nd. So as much as I love Ladd McConkey, I am thinking that they're going to bring someone in. And I don't think it's necessarily, Amanda, going to mean that Ladd McConkey he's going to drop down draft boards. But right now he's priced probably fairly. He's going pick 19 on Underdog right now. So he's right in there, like right in the middle probably of the second round right now. So he's going around AJ Brown, he's going around Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Brock Bowers, Drake London is a little bit ahead of him, but those are the names that are right there. So as long as they don't go out and get, a T Higgins, I think if they do a big name like that, that is obviously going to hurt him and his draft stock just a little bit on Underdog. But if they don't do that and they just go get a few more pieces, like you said, another wide receiver, they definitely need running back help, then I'm going to be okay. And I'm going to make sure to be taking Ladd McConkey this year.
Yeah. And also, if you're listening, can you maybe beef up the O-line just a little bit? Like, get Justin Herbert some help here. I think he was sacked 41 times last year, 7th highest in the league. So maybe if we can protect him, we'll see even more production on that end. But they absolutely need to go get a running back. And unfortunately for them, they know this, but at pick 122, they're not going to get Ashton Jeanty. Sorry, guys.
No.
It's kind of
I hope they have other plans, but even the free agent running backs, Amanda, aren't good. Like, and thankfully this draft class is, Thor Nystrom has talked about it a ton, but this is a really deep running back class, which is nice. The place that you're not going to find a lot of depth this year is at wide receiver. So they've been saying that this wide receiver class isn't very deep, but for running backs and for tight ends, which, maybe they dip a little in there, but especially for the running backs, they could could maybe find someone. The other free agents are Aaron Jones, Najee Harris is someone that we have to wait on. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they bring J.K. Dobbins back. That would not be super fun for us for fantasy football purposes, but he is also a free agent. And then it gets not good. Like Nick Chubb, I really wish that we could sit here and say amazing things about Nick Chubb, but I think with those injuries, it probably won't happen. Javonte Williams hasn't been good for the Denver Broncos. So yeah, they might have to look to the draft and do it there.
Yeah, and that's what people are saying. They're wondering, are they going to trade up to try to get Jeanty? That, I guess maybe they could, but there's also Omarion Hampton. I've seen people kind of throwing his name around. But then also O-line, Tyler Booker was another name I saw them people throwing around for the Chargers because they just really do need a lot of help there. So it's all fun and games, hopeful. Like I'm hopeful for the Chargers. And I know I just said I'm all in, but at the same time, I really, really want to see what they do here at the draft because we know in our fantasy leagues, I mean, the draft doesn't ruin you, but it definitely can give you, make you play with your hands behind your back. So hopefully they can figure this out.
I'm hoping so too. Last question for you on Justin Herbert, because I just have to know. So did you agree with, oh my gosh, okay, we hear it, we're wrapping it up, it's the Oscars music, but his playoff performance, did that worry you at all? Just overall, it doesn't have to be fantasy, but overall in general, because he was getting a ton of heat for how bad, I mean, he looked really bad in the playoffs. Do you think, he's going to be able to turn around? Because they made it to the playoffs. And like I said, I was not expecting that at all for 2024. So if they make it back there, though, I mean, he's got to start winning and being able to win in the playoffs with those bright lights. What do you think?
Look, maybe he just wasn't expecting it either, right? It took him by surprise, so he wasn't ready. I believe in you, Justin Herbert. I do.
What if he came out and he was like, yeah, I wasn't prepared for that. No, that would be so bad. All right, let's go over it. That'd be so funny. Let's go over to we listen and we don't judge. So each of us have something that we need to just get off our chest and we need to say. And the phrase that's going to come after it is we listen and we don't judge. But I know everyone listening is probably going to judge just a little bit, but let me tell you this one, Amanda, because I'll go first because I really have been thinking about this a lot. So I am considering drafting a lot of Kyler Murray again.
Kendall, we don't. Look, we listen and we don't judge, but at the same time, blink twice if you need help, okay? You good?
I'm not.
You good over there?
I don't know what it is. I mean, I can't stop, unfortunately. And it might be one that, again, it comes back to bite me. And he is, right now, he's going, I believe, around QB 10. And last year was kind of in that same range. You could get him 10, 11, 12. And last year was really bad. Listen, I know that. I'm not going to blink twice, but I do know that it was really bad. And it's the same conversation that we just had with Marvin Harrison Jr., where I said he couldn't string two good games together. You look at everything that Kyler Murray had been, right? He had been top 5 quarterback in points per game since he entered the league in 2019. This is obviously before 2024. He was averaging 20 points per game for his career. These were all stats that I looked at and I said, now you just give him another weapon and you have a Trey McBride breakout season, hopefully. That is why I wanted to draft him so much in 2024. And it was the rushing upside. I could not pass up the potential rushing upside with a quarterback that was going in the top 10 right there or right outside the top 10. So for me, Amanda, it's so bad though, because I'm looking at it again and I'm saying, okay, they're going to go get breakfast together. They're going to play Mario Kart and the connection's going to be stronger with Marvin Harrison Jr. And they've been mocked, like Teteroa McMillan has been mocked to the Arizona Cardinals. Like they might go out and get another weapon for Kyler Murray. So I think I'm definitely sick and I like pain a lot if I'm drafting Kyler Murray again in 2025, but I might not get around it. I still might be drafting him this year. It's gross.
When you said they've been mocked, I thought you meant like made fun of. I'm like, I see that. Yeah. I see that.
That too. I mean, it's bad.
When you said he's
really
going
bad.
Quarterback, you said 10, 11.
10.
Yeah.
11,
you know what that makes me think of? That's about how many fantasy points he was getting some weeks, Kendall. I had to look it up. 9, 10, 11 points. He did that week 6, week 4, week 12, week 15. And guess what? Week 9, he got less than 5. He got less than 5, and that was the week that I started him. And so I am so over Kyler Murray. And I do judge. I'm so sorry. I listened and I do judge. But
it's okay.
I hope at the same time, I was just talking up Marvin Harrison Jr. So I do hope it works out for you, Kendall. I really do, but I'm nervous.
No, it won't.
And look,
it's fine.
You were vulnerable. Can I be vulnerable?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I share mine?
Yep.
And look, you don't have to be kind, but because we listen and we don't judge. But I'm starting to get rookie fever, especially with tight ends. And it's to the point where I don't know if I should be allowed to watch the combine. Because what's happened is it's like this Pavlovian, like I drool when I hear about a rookie tight end, because in 2023, Dwayne McFarland said, you know, guys, you should probably think about drafting Sam Laporta. So I did. And he got 889 yards and 10 touchdowns. And then the next year, Dwayne McFarland said, hey, you know, you should think about drafting this rookie tight end, Brock Bowers. And I did. And he got over 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns, right? And guess what Dwayne's telling me in 2025? He's like, hey, you might want to think about this guy named Harold Fannin Jr. And he's showing how he's looking in the rookie supermodel for tight ends. And he is looking good. So I got to say, rookie fever, I'm going to reach for Fannin. I am. I know it already. He's going to be in my home league. I hope they're not listening right now. He's going to be the guy that I go for because it's just third time. It can't stop, right? This train's just moving.
Exactly. No, we listen and we don't judge. And I'm not, honestly, you can judge mine because now mine sounds horrible because I'm with you. And I remember us talking about this last time though, like you took a ton of Brock Bowers last year. And that's something that, again, hand up, this was definitely one where I wasn't fading him at his cost, especially because he was like tight end 8, 9, 10. Like he was pretty late. And so I wasn't necessarily fading Brock Bowers, but I hated the situation. And I was trying to talk myself into it, say, okay, well, he's going to get the volume. That's what we want for fantasy football. Why would I not apply these same exact things that I'm thinking with Malik Neighbors? I took a ton of Malik Neighbors. It was the same thing. He was in a bad situation, but he was going to get all of that volume. And it was the same with Brock Bowers. So you knew last year and you took a ton of Brock Bowers. So I can't listen and judge here. I got to just follow your lead. So I'm just going to circle that guy. Hopefully no one's listening from our leagues because I'm with you. I have to take more rookie tight ends this year. They look so good.
They do. And the problem is I know I'm going to reach and it doesn't matter where he ends up. I'm going to be all in just because I'm locked in. Sam Laporta and Bowers have just, like I said, it's like Pavlov. I'm just like, okay, rookie tight end, all in. Let's do it. And even
Which is
Ian
crazy.
Hartitz.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Have you seen his comps?
No.
It's like jokingly, but he said that Harold Fannin's comps were on the high end, Travis Kelce on steroids, mid-range comps, faster Rob Gronkowski, and on the low end, a modern day Tony Gonzalez. So it's like, how can you not? You've got to fall in line here.
No, you have to. And I was going to say the crazier part is that remember 3 years ago where it was like, no, we can't take Laporta. You have to be patient with him because we don't have these rookies that do really well in fantasy as tight ends. And so now, Amanda, imagine a third year where maybe it's Tyler Warren, right? And it feels like the conversations definitely have to shift because now, like you said, you had Sam Laporta, you had Brock Bowers. So now these conversations are so different. I remember talking about that with Pete Overzet the first year we did our Sirius XM show. And it was like, well, you can draft him. Just be careful for Dynasty, just be patient because they don't break out in fantasy football like we want them to as rookies. And now we're sitting here like, yeah, Tyler Warren's going to be good. All these other tight ends are going to be good. Like Colston Loveland's going to be great. So I'm listening and I'm not judging because that's probably a really good one. And I have to fall in line this year. I need more rookie tight ends this season. Last one. This isn't for us because we are going to judge them. Actually, we listen and we don't judge. But did you see the Arizona Cardinals failed their NFL PA test? And it wasn't even failed. It was somewhat embarrassing. So the NFLPA does this thing every single year. I think we get this, but they get to, players get to come in and they get to rank and they get to vote on a ton of different things. Like I can read you some of them, but it's like food, how they treat their family, the locker room, the training staff, the weight room, strength coaches, all of this stuff. And this year, the Arizona Cardinals last year, who ranked 27th and then 31st in 2023, 2025, they're the worst team, 32nd. It's pretty bad. I'm judging. I don't know about you, but I'm definitely judging.
Yeah. And part of me is like, how much stock do we want to put into this, right? Because the Eagles, they weren't the best ranked team. I think it was Miami had the best grade, but the Eagles won the Super Bowl, right? So how much weight do we give this? But at the same time, it's like, maybe it's not all Kyler Murray's fault. Like maybe there is all this other stuff going on behind the scenes that we just don't know about. And so maybe that affects their motivation or the extra time that they spend there. Maybe that's why he's out playing Call of Duty, is he doesn't want to be in the locker room because it's not, you know what I mean? The food's not good. So you do have to wonder, when it's that much of an outlier, when they're at the bottom of the list, how much is that affecting players wanting to be there? So it makes me nervous.
It's bad. Yeah, 1,695 of our players provided information to share with one another about their current club to not only help make important career decisions, but also help raise standards across the league. I'm reading that from the NFLPA's website. And so with the Cardinals, I can read some of this out to you. Treatment of families, D+. Food and dining area, D-. They got to be in nutrition, dietitian, but then it was like F. Amanda, I didn't even know an F- existed until I saw this test. F- for the locker room. What are we doing? An F for the weight room, D- for ownership, which we kind of just mentioned, but like a D- for the food area. What are they? I think Pete wrote today, saying that he is picturing Marvin Harrison Jr. just with a stick of beef jerky, and that's all they get for lunch. What do we do? What are they feeding them? What's going on?
And like, have you ever been like, on January 1st, you get your gym membership and you go there and it's just kind of not what you expected and you don't go back, right? I mean, what are we doing to these like elite professionals if they don't even if they're grading it an F-? There's problems there that need to get fixed. And in some ways, it's kind of impressive that the Cardinals did as well as they did on the field, right?
Right. It's just like, you gotta fix it. I don't know. I was going to say, like, I don't know what food they're feeding him, but it definitely obviously needs some help. And yeah, the Miami Dolphins were one of the best ones. I think they were the best. They were number one out of this whole thing. But yeah. And the one thing that is still blowing my mind is like the treatment of families. The Cincinnati Bengals gave their thing, and theirs was an F-. Again, another F-. Treating your family poorly as a professional athlete, that just has to be so, I can't even imagine that. Just, I don't know. And I don't know what that means, if that's a travel thing, if that's, them getting on the sidelines or anything, but that has to be brutal.
Yeah, I think it was daycare. And then I know, before we switch, I just have to bring this up too. The Patriots had gotten a bad rating for travel, and it's because their plane is so old. It doesn't have Wi-Fi, it's small, and they still have ashtrays in the armrests. That's insane. So keep your grades coming. We need to judge so that these organizations can better themselves.
We need all the tea on these organizations. All right. But again, that said, you can see the whole thing. NFLPA.com is where all of the grades are. So that's where you can go for that. All right. It is because we have so much fun. I can't believe we're already in overtime. So we're going into overtime, and this one might be difficult. So the Oscars, I guess it is Oscar week. And I will say again, hand up, I did not know that. But I think the Oscars are this weekend. So this comes from our producer, Matt Swing. And he said, wouldn't it be fun if we had bad movie descriptions and Amanda had to go ahead and try and guess the movies based on these bad movie descriptions? So again, I apologize if you don't get some of these, Amanda. That some of them you definitely will. The hints are that they're all sports movies. So at least you have that with you. I will say, if you hate the descriptions or have never seen the movies, we're going to blame our producer, Matt Swing, on this one because he wrote all of these out. But this is, that's how it goes. And so I'm going to give you a bad movie description and you're going to try and guess the movie. Are you ready?
Oh yeah. The people in the comments are going to get these way before me. Okay, let's do it.
Let's see. Yeah. Try and guess all of these. But here's the first one. A football team comes together to make today's equivalent of a viral TikTok dance, and they have their fun dance.
A football movie where they're dancing? Are they actually dancing? They dance a little, just only a little. Think of when they're coming onto the field. I'm literally just Friday Night Lights. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't remember dancing football players.
It's Remember the Titans. When they do the dance going out onto the field. I know. That one was difficult. I blame Matt Swing.
But also, it's been a while since I've seen it, so.
A great movie, though. Really great movie. I love that movie, so I might watch it after this. All right, let's go to another one. All right, a boy... so bad. A boy fakes his own death to win over his crush.
Dude, what? I have no idea. I have no idea.
There's a dog in it. You know, that's kind of the central theme there's.
I've never seen this, so I don't know how bad this is going to be. Okay. Rudy?
No, it's not Rudy. Okay. You've never seen Rudy? Oh, you have to watch that.
It feels like somebody would have faked their death and had a dog in a movie called Rudy.
It was Sandlot. It was the Sandlot movie.
Oh my God, where that's such a throwback.
He fakes like not being able to breathe so he could kiss the pretty lifeguard. Yes. Again, not the central theme of the movie. That's why I say, Matt Swing, we blame you. But that is in the movie. So that was Sandlot.
Oh, I grew up on Sandlot. Okay. I am ashamed of myself right now.
That's a great movie. Great movie. Okay, another one. A baseball player evades being taken into captivity by drinking water and stretching really well. And he put in parentheses 3 cheers for self-care.
You know,
this one's hard.
A baseball movie. Is it the one with the little boy hurt? I thought you said baseball player.
It is. It's a baseball player evades being taken into captivity by drinking. But think.
Okay, Matt Swing.
Think you crossover. Know what? Think crossover. Crossover movie that everyone loves. I only watched it once.
There's no crossover here for me. So I'm going to say Talladega Nights. I know it's wrong. Talladega Nights. Lock it in.
Space Jam.
Oh my God.
Jordan. I know. That one was tough. You got the monsters.
But it's like he threw these lobs and I'm just thinking, I'm thinking so narrow. I'm going to have to watch all these movies again, Matt.
It's a great, okay. This is one, I don't consider this a sports movie. I'm going to be totally honest. I've never watched this movie once and thought, oh, what a great sports movie. But let me give you this description anyway. Okay. A hotshot athlete finds out that capitalism has ruined small town America, but at least he gets a hot girlfriend.
Moneyball?
If you get this, no.
I don't know.
No. You know what he put this as? Cars. The Disney movie Cars.
Oh my God. Matt had way more fun making this segment than he realized.
I'm crying because I looked at that and I said to myself, Cars. Have you ever watched Cars and thought to yourself, what a great sports movie? Because I haven't.
And the girlfriend's hot. Right.
The blue Porsche. Yeah, of course. Naturally. Swing. Come on.
I'm going to give you one. I'm going to give you one off the cuff. Are you ready?
Okay.
So
good. Yeah.
This one involves mustaches and wrenches. Throwing wrenches.
Yes.
You know
I know this one. Dodgeball.
Yes, there you go. See Matt, that's how you do it, Matt.
Okay, I've got this. I think you can get this last one. I swear you can. This is very much, you and I, we've definitely seen this. The star athlete lets his dad down by pursuing his passions. And I will say his passions are singing.
High School Musical.
Yes, at the buzzer. Look at that. I needed you to get one. These were hard. I would not have gotten these.
High School Musical, that's just a movie, we all grew up on that, right? Is
Cars a sports movie? Can you settle that? Is that a sports movie?
No. Guys in the chat, let's just say, Matt, Cars is not sports.
Yeah, Matt, you got to work on that. That's okay. All right. Super. That was so fun. Again, time flies when we're having fun. We appreciate everyone hanging out with us during the show. Please, again, give us some name suggestions because we are still unnamed Amanda and Kendall show. So until we get a really good suggestion, and we will credit you for it as well. So please comment any suggestions that you have for the name of our show. But Amanda, it was so fun. Have fun next week at Mardi Gras, and we'll get to recap that. I'm excited.
I'll give you the rundown.
I'm so excited. All right. Make sure everyone you go to fantasylife.com, go subscribe to that newsletter. And while you're there, all of our articles also 100% free, getting you set for the off season. For Amanda Cooterdoodle, for Kendall Valenzuela here. We'll see you next time.